The Elder Scrolls Online has spent the last decade trying to solve an impossible puzzle. It's a game with a split personality, and its entire history is a story of which identity would win out. On one side, the hardcore PvP focused MMO it launched as. On the other, the story-rich, solo-friendly world fans of the franchise actually expected. I've played off and on since day one, and I've witnessed this civil war play out over the last decade. This is a review for the year 2025 to see if this MMORPG is worth playing, or is it just more trash in the MMO trash pile. ESO kicks off like most MMORPGs. You make a character, pick a class, and dive into a bunch of quests. Combat is a little different from the typical hotbar with 45 spells you'll never use. Here, you've got aiming, kind of. It's more like polite auto-aim. The devs clearly had consoles in mind, and honestly, this was probably their biggest mistake. You only get 5 active skills and 1 ultimate per weapon bar, and 2 bars total, so 12 total actives. Then you've got potions, food, and pets hanging out on a quick wheel. Simple, but effective. Actual fighting is one of the stronger points. You got light attacks, heavy attacks, blocking, dodging, parrying, even stealth mechanics. It feels grounded. You know what's happening without bosses throwing disco light shows at you. But still, if you're careless, you will get one shot. And don't confuse this for not having interesting fights either. A lot of mechanics do happen, it is just easy to digest even for new players. Skill progression is where the Elder Scrolls Online gets some moon sugar. Every skill has its own XP bar. Level it up, then morph it into one of 2 variants. An example, a destruction staff skill starts as a tri-element beam, but you can morph it either to hit multiple enemies or interrupt casters. Same with Templar strikes. You can morph it for more healing or swap the cost to a stamina for a whole new build. That is what makes the system so open from almost every other MMORPG out there. With hundreds of skills, each with their own unique morphs, you can really find or make a build that is perfectly fun to play. Armor and gear are wide open too. Wear heavy armor as a mage? Go for it. Play a necromancer, archer, or tank sorcerer? ESO says, do your thing. Sure, some builds are better than others, but it's the most single player MMO you'll play. Nobody's stopping you from playing however you want. And then there are the sets. Hundreds of them. Some give you guardians that poop out resources, others make lava erupt, some just make you run around like Sonic the Hedgehog. There are over 650 of these sets, which sounds cool until you realize farming the right one is basically a part-time job. And these sets can include anywhere from your rings, accessories, to your weapons, to your armor. And you can wear a multitude of sets all at once. But hey, it's an MMORPG. That comes with the territory. The story isn't selling any books, but ESO does a good job of letting you push it forward. Main quests are solid, side quests are surprisingly decent, and zone quests often have meat on their bones. It is fun seeing the history of some of these zones and playing a part in the turmoil that is destroying, well, everyone. And sure, you'll still get the occasional go pick 3 flowers quest, but it is usually more like explore this dungeon, fight a boss, and pick up shiny collectibles while you're at it. And sky shards are a nice incentive too. Grab enough and you get more skill points, and trust me, you'll want every single one you can find. On max settings, the game looks gorgeous. Unique zones, vibrant effects, and tons of insects flying around. On my recording settings though, let's just say the graphics were Elder Scrolls Online Potato Edition. We will get more into this later, but in short, the performance absolutely sucks. The art design is consistent with the Elder Scrolls vibe. Not super realistic, not cartoony, just comfortably fantasy, and that's great. One thing I do want to point out here is the cosmetic system. You know, style style is the most important feature after all. The base game launched with an appearance only slot, which is really only used for disguises on quests. The real style is in a multitude of systems. You know, the more I break this down, the more I feel ESO is super not noob friendly, which is an odd feeling when you can do literally any quest chain at level 1, but I digress. So let's break this down in the method a normal player would unlock these. Probably. You get max level and finally get your first 5-piece set bonus, but it looks like crap. Maybe it's poop colored, I don't know. So you take it to an outfit station and change the colors. Most colors are hidden behind some achievement, but a lot are free. So you find the colors you want and dye it. So now you look slightly less like a dude, but you want more, so you find an outfit that actually looks cool and you save that in your outfit slot armor 1. Finally, you dripping now, but then you see a player who has wings, is in all black, and even their skin is blacked out like some kind of obsidian glass. You want it. No, you need it. So you discover skin collectibles. Tons of these are purchasable and tons come from challenges once again. So now you finally look cool as hell, dude. You got the glowy sword, the shiny emo armor, a matching horse, but then you discover the appearance tab and polymorphs, and just like that, your whole wardrobe changes once again, all unlocked by achievements or cash money. You're thinking, damn, this is the full set right here and it looks cool AF. So there's like style changes, color changes, outfit slots, appearance overhauls, and even more color changes. Oh, and skin morphs. That's a lot. But when it comes to cosmetics, well, even if it's complicated, the people demand more. Plus you got things like emotes, walking stances, and idle stances. It's a lot, man. Sound design is rock solid. Voice acting is cool and fits. Wolves howling make you feel like there's a pack outside your window, and spell effects make you feel like you're in Hogwarts. All of it just sounds so right. The music especially goes hard in the expansions. Each zone has its own cultural vibe. Only downside, in PvP zones, when the servers lag, when there's a lot of players on the screen, sometimes sound just disappears. It's like the game gave up before your character actually died. And here's where we finally bring out the ugly side. This game is not optimized at all. It doesn't matter if you're rocking a NASA computer, you'll still get frame drops. I had a top tier hardware once and still couldn't consistently break 100 FPS. In big PvP fights like Cyrodiil, frames dip into the 50s, even with toaster settings. Everyone just kind of accepts that this game runs like a dying fish on life support. Progression comes in layers. You've got your level 1 to 50 grind, then skill levels and morphs. After that, champion points, ESO's infinite leveling system. They give you passive buffs along 3 astral paths. It's like a warrior, mage, and a thief, all color-coded. The amount you can spend is capped. That has risen over the years, even though technically 3,600 is the max. I think the most you can actually have spent is like 1,800 now, so by then you're not really getting any stronger. So what kind of replay value does this game have? Well, tons. Thousands of quests, dozens of dungeons, raids, expansions, delves, dolmens, collectibles. You could know like this for a year and still have stuff left. The housing system is also surprisingly amazing. Maybe the best in any MMO. Shame some houses cost more than actual rent, but I mean, the big CEO at ZeniMax needs another yacht, guys. I mean, come on. ESO is massive. Expansions, seasonal events, cosmetic grinds, PvP, crafting, sets to farm. You could sink hundreds of hours easily. I mean, the game does have almost 2,500 quests now, but here's the catch. None of it really needs to be done. You can skip most of it and still hit max level with a dolmen grind or a Skyreach run. Value really depends on how much you enjoy grinding. With so much to do, all for 20 buckos, plus the latest expansion, as they used to give all previous stuff away with the new purchase, but it seems things are different now with the newest expansions, or chapters as they call them. Okay, so I did some research here, and it seems they gone away with that system, kind of. You get the base game and chapter 1, the first one, Morrowind, for 20 bucks. bucks. That's fine. Base game gets you into it. It lets you decide if you want to buy more, and there's still plenty of content to do in just the base game. After that, however, it seems the only way to unlock the rest of the chapters is to buy the $80 2025 Content Pass Premium. Not to be confused with the 2025 Content Pass, only the Premium. That is garbage. Man, no wonder this game doesn't ever get a growing community. That is actually the most AIDS thing I've ever discovered about a game I liked. I was about to take 2 points off my final rating, but I did a little more research. Man, this is getting long and complicated quickly, so I'm gonna sum it up as best I can. Base game, $20. Monthly membership subscription, $15. And that unlocks all legacy chapters. So from release until the end of 2024, the $80 will permanently unlock these, as the subscription only unlocks if paid month to month. Okay, makes sense. But holy Hermaeus Mora, that was just too much. Before moving on, I just wanted to mention, if you were playing this game seriously, the subscription is basically required. It doubles your bank, it doubles your housing limit, gives you free crowns, gives you a bag with infinite pockets just for profession stuff, bonus XP, access to all the mini content packs, not to be confused with chapter packs, and unlocks chapter packs too. Okay, moving on. This game borrows from World of Warcraft and Guild Wars and others, but mixes in some cool twists. Morphing skills, an active blocking dodge, a legit housing system, and ultimate abilities. They innovated in small but smart ways. It's a shame they didn't go all in on PC players from the start. They took what worked in the booming MMO market and made it work for them. But while it may have worked for the MMO aspect, this does carry the name The Elder Scrolls, and it is vastly different from the likes of Skyrim or Oblivion or any of their RPG titles. So how are the normal dungeons? Honestly, they're about as threatening as a skeever with asthma. You can solo a lot of them if you're decently geared, and half the time random groups just face roll through with minimal communication. It's less challenge and more race to the finish line. Veteran dungeons now are supposed to be the next step up, and yeah, they do require some more coordination, but most of them are still pretty easy to breeze through. Once you learn the mechanics, it's less about reaction time or skill and more about memorizing the dance steps. It's basically MMO, Simon says. Stand there, block that, dodge this, collect your loot. So what is so hard in this game? Well, the veteran DLC dungeons. I wish it were easier to explain, but the devs really suck at this. Base dungeons are easy on normal or veteran. DLC dungeons are harder on normal, but hardest on veteran. But the real challenge in ESO isn't the content, it's dealing with other players. You'll wipe not because the boss is difficult, but because Chad the Nightblade thought he could solo mechanics while watching Netflix. Veteran content doesn't punish bad skill so much as bad attitudes, and everyone suffers when one person has a bad attitude. PvP, of course, is a different beast. It's PvP, it's messy, and it feels like playing laser tag in a hurricane. Sometimes you'll get melted in 2 seconds flat, other times you'll kite 3 people around a tree for 10 minutes and feel like the biggest gaming god alive. It's unpredictable, which is both fun and frustrating. And here's the thing, ESO has a very low ceiling for actual mechanical skill. Once you learn your rotation and set up your builds, you're 90% of the way there. The rest is just, do you know the mechanics? And do you have the patience to farm that one broken set before it gets nerfed into Oblivion? Get it? Cause Oblivion? Oh, come on, that one was good. So difficulty in ESO generally isn't hard, it's more like homework. You study, you memorize, you farm, and you win. The game doesn't demand lightning reflexes, it demands a good build and maybe 3 cups of coffee. The multiplayer isn't where ESO just stumbles, but fails harder than the Green Lantern movie. For an MMORPG, a massive multiplayer online role-playing game, it feels more like a single-player game with optional co-op. Even the group content content doesn't require much interaction, and the economy relies on weird guild systems instead of a global auction house. It's like the game is forcing you to interact with other players just to put things on the market, because you don't really need to interact for anything else. The trials or raids, maybe, grouping or for PvP or help farming that one item drop. Like, multiplayer exists, but it often feels tacked on. You can't really quest together, you can't really farm crafting and professions together. It's just, I don't know. ESO is fun, it's full of content, and has one of the better combat systems in the genre, but it never really nails that must-play MMO factor. It's like the world's best single-player MMO, which is kind of a contradiction. It's not bad by any means, it is really fun, but after a week of playing, I always just kind of feel alone. I have joined some pretty big guilds too. I've tried to roleplay, I joined the Ebon Army PvP guild, even looked at some high-end trials and the guilds that run them. But at the end of the day, anything you want to progress towards with your character is just done solo. So how does ESO stack up against the MMO giants? Well, let's start with the obvious one, World of Warcraft. WoW didn't just define the genre, it became the genre for about 15 years. At its peak, it was raking in over $200 million a month. That's not profitable. That's let's buy a small country money. And while WoW has had its ups and downs, it's still the gold standard when people think of MMOs. You say MMORPG and most people's brains instantly go to, oh, like WoW. And there's Final Fantasy XIV. This game literally rose from the ashes of its own terrible launch. They scrapped it, rebuilt it, and now it's the MMO people cry about emotionally while watching cutscenes. Final Fantasy is the story-first MMO. It's less about grinding and more about feeling like you're living inside a JRPG epic. If WoW is the popular jock, Final Fantasy XIV is the theater kid who won an Oscar. And Guild Wars 2 carved out its own little niche. Dynamic events, action-oriented combat, no monthly sub. It was the casual, friendly MMO. You jump in, mess around, log off. It never aimed to kill WoW. It just builds its own playground and says, come hang if you want. There are countless other MMOs I can go on about. RuneScape, Black Desert, Ashes of Creation, Neverwinter, Star Wars. This space is more occupied than a damn snake pit. So, ESO, where does it sit? Honestly, kind of in the upper middle of all of them. It has way more content than some, but it doesn't have that cultural chokehold or emotional storytelling. It tries to appeal to everyone, the Elder Scrolls fans, MMO players, console gamers, but in doing so, it doesn't fully dominate any one lane. ESO's biggest strength is variety. You want dungeons? There are dozens. Housing? Arguably the best in the genre. PvP? A little janky, but it's there. Exploration? Thousands of quests. It does everything pretty well, but nothing at a must-play level. It's like the MMO buffet. Tons of food, but most of it is a few days old and smells weird. So why play ESO over the competition? Simple. If you're an Elder Scrolls fan who wishes Skyrim had co-op, this is the closest you're gonna get, probably, outside of mods. But if you're hunting for a WoW killer or the next big MMO revolution, ESO is more of a comfy side dish than the main course. But, I mean, nothing wrong with a side of mac and cheese, but people still need some meat and that green stuff that my girlfriend keeps telling me to eat more of. I give the Elder Scrolls Online an 8 out of 10. The combat is solid, the world is huge, the customization is fun, but the optimization is trash, the multiplayer feels hollow, and progression doesn't always feel rewarding. Plus, the cost to enter now, $35 just for base game and a single month of content, or $100 for it all always, that's just kind of criminal. ESO is like that friend who's always fun to hang out with, but never your first call on a Saturday night. We are in a slump in the MMO market and have been for a while. Is there better? Yeah. Are there worse? Oh yes. Does a bear shit in the woods? But apart from special events, there's not much to keep you here. New classes come sometimes, new patches sure, but there's no real reason to level up a new character, experience the new systems, or bother with anything long term. If you are out of games to play and looking to dip your toes into a decent MMO, this is a good one. But if you're looking for that MMO hit that will wrap you in for months and years, keep looking. Thank you for watching. If you disagree, let me know why. Have a great day, and I will see you down the path, gamers.